The meeting, she can hear everything. Stone stood at the edge of the large glass hall on Mars. The red dust outside moved slowly in the wind, but inside the room, everything was still. This was not just a meeting, this was history. For the first time, humans were meeting the Surari, an alien race known for their strange beauty and quiet power. Eli was young for a diplomat, but smart and brave. His mission was simple: make peace. But nothing about this day felt simple. He looked around. Human leaders stood in one corner, Surari stood in another. They were tall, their skin pale silver and their eyes glowing faint blue. They wore long robes and moved like they were floating. Then he saw her. She was different from the others. Her name was Lyra. She stood alone, staring at him like she already knew him. Her eyes locked with his, and for a moment he forgot where he was. She walked toward him, silent, graceful. Eli Stone, she said, her voice calm and smooth. You think too loudly. Eli blinked. Excuse me, your thoughts are loud. You hide nothing. Eli laughed nervously. I didn't say anything. You didn't have to. He froze. Did she mean no? It wasn't possible. She couldn't be serious, but she was. They walked together to a small table. Lyra sat down first, her eyes still watching him. He tried not to stare. Her face was soft, alien but beautiful. He sat, tried to speak, but in his mind he thought something wrong, something human, something stupid. She's beautiful. What would kissing her feel like? Immediately, Lyra's face changed. Her soft look became cold. Her glowing eyes narrowed. You should learn to control your thoughts, Eli Stone, she said quietly. His heart raced. He looked down in shame. I didn't mean to, but you did. He opened his mouth, then closed it. How do you say sorry for something you didn't say out loud? Lyra stood up. Your people speak with their mouths, she said. Mine speak with their minds. You cannot lie to us. Even from across a room, we hear what you think, what you feel, what you desire. Eli felt like the floor was opening under him. So you can hear everything? He asked. Everything. That must be hard. It is not hard. It is normal. What is hard is meeting creatures who hide so much behind smiles. She looked at him again, softer this time, like she could feel his confusion. But you are different, she added. He looked up. How? You feel shame. Others feel pride in their dirty thoughts. You do not. He didn't know what to say. He looked at her, trying to stay calm, but his thoughts were spinning. Don single quotes. Think of her eyes. Don't think of her lips. Don't. Her face hardened again. You are trying too hard, Eli Stone. He stood up, feeling embarrassed. Maybe I should leave. No, she said, suddenly serious. You must stay. There is more to learn, more to fear. What do you mean? There is something worse than your thoughts, she said, voice dropping low. There is something else. Listening. Eli felt cold all over. Listening to what? To us. To every mind in this room. I felt it the moment I stepped on your planet. Something old. Something hungry. Eli tried to laugh, but her face told him she wasn't joking. This is not just about peace, she whispered. This is about survival. He stared at her, forgetting everything else. Who are you? He asked. Lyra stepped closer. Her voice was a whisper now, soft but sharp. I am the last of my kind, trained to hear the deep thoughts. And I hear yours, Eli Stone. You hide fear behind courage, kindness behind duty, and something else. What? Hope? She turned to walk away, then stopped. If you knew what I could hear, she said without turning back, you'd run. The lights in the room flickered. For just a second, Eli looked around. No one else noticed. But he did. He looked back at Lyra. She was gone. The mission, louder than words. The red sun was setting behind the glass dome of the Mars Alliance station. A strange silence filled the air, heavy, intense. Eli Stone stood alone in his private room, staring at his reflection in the mirror. He didn't recognize himself. He kept replaying Lyra's words in his head. If you knew what I could hear, you'd run. Why had she said that? And what did she mean by something else is listening? He turned on his data pad and called Earth Command. A general's face appeared. Report. The general said, voice sharp. The Surari are different. Very different, Eli replied. Can we trust them? Eli paused. They hear thoughts. Excuse me, they don't need ears to listen. They read minds, especially Lyra. The general frowned. Do they know about Project Ember? No, but if Lyra gets close enough, she might hear it. The general leaned forward. Your mission stays the same. We need that alliance. Without the Surari, the outer colonies fall. Keep her close. Gain her trust. What if she already knows too much? The screen went black. The next morning, Eli walked through the gardens of the Surari embassy. Strange plants grew there, tall blue vines that hummed when touched, soft red flowers that moved like they were breathing. He found Lyra sitting near a glowing fountain, eyes closed, as if listening to a sound no one else could hear. You came back, she said without opening her eyes. Of course I did, Eli said. We have work to do. No, you came because you need answers. And maybe because I want to understand you, he added. She opened her eyes. You think you're different, that makes you dangerous. Dangerous how? Because humans lie to themselves first and then to others. But you question your own thoughts. You fear them, the others do not. Eli sat beside her. You said something is listening. What is it? She didn't answer right away. Long before your species learned to fly, she said, we fought a war of silence. Not with guns, not with fire, but with thought. Telepathic war, yes. Against creatures that didn't just hear thoughts, they ate them. Eli stared. What does that mean? They feed on emotion, fear, desire, anger, especially chaos. What are they called? Lyra looked into the sky. The Voxton. The name felt cold. Even when she whispered it, we thought they were gone. She continued, we used to detect them. Mind to mind, now, only a few of us can still hear their shadows. You think they're here? I know they are. One brushed against my mind yesterday. Right after you thought about kissing me. Eli turned red. That was, I didn't mean, I know. And yet, it was loud enough for the Voxton to hear. He stood, pacing. So now what? They're listening to me, maybe? Or maybe they're just curious. But they always come before the storms. Lyra stood too. We need to train your mind, silence your thoughts, or your species may become a feast, and if I fail, then you'll become the door they enter through. That night, Lyra brought him to a quiet cave beneath the Mars base. A secret place filled with ancient Serari markings. This is where we teach our young to listen without speaking, she said. And to think without being heard. They sat facing each other. The lights dimmed. Close your eyes, Lyra instructed. Breathe. And listen to your thoughts. Eli tried, but images came, memories, fears, dreams, Lyra's face, Earth sky, the war. His failures, it was all too loud. You're leaking energy, Lyra said. Focus, I can't, you must. Suddenly, he felt something enter. His mind, soft at first, then colder, darker. It wasn't Lyra. His heartbeat quickened. Eli, a voice. Not Lyra's. Eli stoned Lyra, he said, eyes still shut. Something's here. Don't move. She said sharply. Don't speak. But the voice grew louder inside his thoughts. You're open, we see you. The temperature dropped. The cave lights flickered. Lyra placed her hands on Ellie's temples. Fight it, close your mind. Think of silence, we like your fear, then… Snap, Lyra screamed. The link broke. She fell back, breathing hard, eyes wide with terror. What was that? Eli gasped. They've marked you, she whispered. They're coming. How much time do we have? Lyra stood slowly. Eyes filled with dread. Not enough. The mind strain, marked by thought. The cold didn't leave him, even after the mind link broke. Even after Lyra dragged him back to the surface, Eli Stone still felt it. A shadow behind his thoughts, something just beyond the edge of awareness, like standing in a room with a mirror that reflected someone else. His sleep came in fragments now, flashes of color, voices without mouths. Words spoken in languages he had never heard, yet somehow understood. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard it. Eli Stone. Not a name anymore, a target. 3 days had passed since the cave. Lyra hadn't spoken much since. Not because she didn't want to, but because she was afraid. Afraid of what she might hear if she opened her mind too far. She watched Eli from a distance now, studying him like a puzzle. Not just human, not just marked, something was changing inside him. The Voxton did not mark without reason, they chose, and Eli had been chosen. You're drifting, Lyra said as she suddenly appeared beside him during a council meeting. Eli blinked, pulled from a thought he hadn't even realized he was having. Sorry, he whispered. She leaned closer. I felt them again, only for a second. Where? Inside you. That night, she brought him to an underground mind chamber. Serari technology so old it was built when their race still feared the stars. Inside the chamber, strange rings floated in the air, humming softly. The walls were covered in patterns that moved like water, shifting with emotion. This place will help us, she said. But it will hurt first. Eli didn't ask what she meant, he already knew. She gave him a glowing band and placed it gently on his forehead. You must go deeper now. Face what's inside you, and if what's inside me isn't human anymore, then we'll know what we're fighting. As the machine activated, Ellie's body froze. His mind opened, too wide, too fast. First came memories, his childhood, Earth's oceans, his mother's voice. The crash that killed his brother, guilt, fear, loneliness. Then silence. But not the peaceful kind. The kind before a storm. Then he saw something. Eyes, not human, millions of them. Floating in a dark space, some small, some the size of cities. All watching, all awake. Then a voice, deep and many-layered. You wear the human face, but your mind bends like ours. What are you? Eli thought. We are the listeners beneath thought, the eaters of memory, the children of chaos. Why? Me, because you're broken. The voice vanished. Then came the pain. White-hot lightning in his skull. Visions of war. Planets burning, thoughts melting into screams. Suddenly the machine shut down. Eli fell to the ground, shaking. Lyra rushed forward. You lasted longer than I expected, she whispered. What did you see? He asked through clenched teeth. Not what I saw, she said slowly. What they saw, they're watching Earth, Lyra nodded, and they know what you fear most. Eli sat on the edge of his bed hours later, staring at the floor. His hands trembled. He didn't want to sleep. He didn't want to dream. You're broken. He remembered those words too clearly. Was it true? He had lost so much in his life. People, peace, control. Maybe that crack inside him was real. Maybe that's what the Voxton needed. A broken door is easier to open. The next day, Lyra gave him a black crystal. What is this? He asked. Surari. Memory stone. It holds a mind shield. Use it when the voices come again, and if it doesn't work. She looked at him. Then you won't be you anymore. Meanwhile, far above Mars, a satellite blinked offline. Then another and another. A single file appeared in the Mars command database, written in code only one species could understand. 3 words, we are near. Later, during another training session, Lyra pushed Eli harder. Control your thoughts, she demanded. I can't. Yes, you can. Fear is loud. Silence it, he tried, breathing slow, heart steady. But then he saw something in her. A thought she didn't mean to share. A memory. A world, her world, burning, Surari running, children screaming, black shapes in the sky, and Lyra alone, standing in the ashes. He gasped. You lost them, she turned away. That's why you hear everything. You can't afford to miss a single cry. She said nothing, but he felt it, her sadness, her silence, her strength. I'm not just doing this for Earth anymore, Eli said. I'm doing it for you too. She turned to him, her voice softer now. Then don't let them in. That night, the stars over Mars changed. 3 lights appeared near the edge of the sky. Not satellites. Not ships. But something far older. The first pieces of the Voxton had arrived, and Eli could already hear them whispering. The third listener. Whispers in the dark. The lights above Mars did not move. They floated high in orbit, silent, cold, watching. No signal, no heat signature, not ships, not drones. They didn't blink like stars. They stared back. When Eli Stone looked up at them, his heart felt heavier, not from fear. From something deeper, something ancient. It was the feeling of being seen, not by eyes, but by thoughts sharper than knives. He wasn't the only one who noticed. Lyra stood beside him on the surface platform, her face pale even under Mars' red sky. They're not fully here, she whispered, but they're listening. How close? Eli asked. Close enough to know you're afraid. He didn't deny it. How could he? His dreams had become cages. His waking thoughts now echoed with voices that weren't his. Every memory he had, good or bad, felt like it no longer belonged to him alone. They're not just reading minds, Lyra added. They're building a map. Thought by thought, fear by fear, of what? Us, in the Mars Alliance command room. Generals argued while screens flashed red warnings. Satellites going dark, surface sensors glitching. Communications static growing louder. This is cyber warfare, one human officer insisted. Probably from the outer belt colonies. No, Lyra interrupted. This isn't technology. It's biological. Mental. A few laughed, others grew quiet. Eli stepped forward. They feed on thoughts, he said. They crawl into our minds, and they copy us. The room froze. Copy? The general asked. They don't just hear, they learn. They watch how we think, then they pretend to be us. Better than we are. And what's their goal? To replace us, not physically, mentally. They don't need to kill us, they just override us. Silence fell. Project Ember, Lyra said suddenly, turning to the generals. You haven't told him, have you? The humans looked at each other. What's Project Ember? Eli asked. No one answered. Tell him, Lyra demanded. The generals spoke slowly. Project Ember is an emergency failsafe. If peaceful contact with the Surari failed, we plan to release a psionic virus. Eli stepped back, shocked. What? A neural disruption field, designed to scramble telepaths. You were going to destroy their minds. We thought they might be hostile. We had to prepare. Eli looked at Lyra. Her eyes glowed brighter, not with light, but with anger. You would have ended my entire race in seconds. We didn't activate it, the general replied. Defensive? No, she said coldly, but you left it on. Ellie's blood ran cold. The Voxton, Lyra whispered. That's what drew them. They heard your failsafe scream across space. Later that night, Eli sat alone on a quiet ridge overlooking the Martian desert. Wind whispered across the sand. But it wasn't the only whisper. You are awake. He froze. This time, the voice was clearer, louder, not in his mind. Beside it, you know us now. He turned slowly, and there it was, a shape, black like deep space, tall and shifting. Like it didn't belong in one dimension. No eyes, no mouth, but a presence heavier than gravity. You're one of them, Eli said, voice shaking. A seed. Why show yourself? To warn you, you are changing. Your thoughts stretch beyond your species. You are becoming. What? The door, or the lock, the shape flickered, then vanished. Behind him, Lyra stood, blade drawn. I felt it, she said. It touched you. Did you see it? No, that's worse, only you did. What does it mean? You're not just marked anymore, she said. You're connected. The next morning, the Martian base began experiencing chaos. People forgot who they were mid-sentence. A soldier shot at his own reflection. A child woke up speaking in a dead language no human had ever recorded. Minds were cracking, one by one, and all of them had one thing in common. They had spent time near Eli. They're spreading through you. Lyra said, you're the signal now, then isolate me, put me in a sealed room. It's too late for that. Thought cannot be caged. Then what do we do? She placed her hands on his head. We go deeper. Into your mind, together. Why? Because somewhere inside you, they left a piece of themselves. If we find it, we might understand them. Or destroy them. Eli looked into her eyes. And if we fail, Lyra didn't blink. Then humanity falls without a single shot fired. The thought war, the mind must not break. The human brain wasn't built for war. Not this kind of war. Bullets can be dodged, bombs can be disarmed. But when the enemy attacks your very thoughts, your memories, your dreams, where do you run? That question echoed in Eli Stone's head as he lay motionless on the cold metal table deep inside the Mars Alliance underground facility. Above him, machines hummed softly. Beside him, Lyra stood still, eyes closed, fingers touching his temples. They were already inside. Their minds connected like streams pulled into one ocean. Space melted, time twisted, their bodies stayed behind. But their thoughts entered a world shaped by memory and fear, a shifting mental plane. First came light. Blinding. Then noise, like thousands of people whispering at once. Then came the shapes. They weren't solid, they were wrong, flickers of ideas trying to become real. Some looked like people from Ellie's past, others were twisted versions of him, wearing his face. But speaking voxed in words, this is the outer layer. Lyra said, your surface thoughts, what are we looking for? The seed they left in you, it hides deep. It may even look like you. The landscape changed. They stood in a memory, Ellie's old home, on Earth. Sunlight through the windows, the smell of burning toast, his brother's laugh echoing from the hallway. This was a happy place. He said, that's why they hide here, Lyra whispered. They feed where you feel safe. Suddenly the window cracked. Not glass, reality. Through the crack, black tendrils slipped into the room, turning the color to ash. Eli grabbed Lyra's hand. Run. But the house melted behind them. As they ran through shifting memories, scenes from Ellie's life past them, his first assignment, a failed relationship, a childhood fight. Each one now twisted, the people's faces distorted. Their voices repeating his darkest thoughts. You failed him, you always run, you're weak. They're using your guilt to weaken the mind's space, Lyra shouted. How? Do I fight this? Not with strength, she said, with truth. Eli stopped. Faced the phantom of his brother. I didn't save you, he said, and I live with that every day. But I'm still here, I'm still fighting. The phantom screamed, then cracked like glass, vanishing. The memory solidified again. Good. Lyra said, truth is your weapon. Deeper in the mental field, they reached a strange structure. A black spire shaped like a heartbeat frozen. Mid-beat, it pulsed. There, Lyra said, that's it, the seed, yes, but it's waking. They stepped closer. The spire opened like a flower, and from within stepped Eli. Not the real one. This version smiled too widely, moved too smoothly. Its voice echoed even in silence. You finally found me, it said, but you're too late. What are you? Eli asked. A copy. The first draft. We made you better. I'm not your puppet. No, the thing said, you're the bridge. The false Eli lifted a hand and the world around them shattered. Suddenly they were no longer in memories, they were somewhere else. The voxed in hive-mind. Endless void, oceans of thought, towers of pure information. Creatures made of ideas, drifting, devouring, duplicating. Lyra staggered. We're inside them now. How? Eli gasped. They pulled us in, your connection let them. And now they'll try to consume us. From all sides, voices rose. Why fight? We offer peace. Merge with us, forget fear. Forget pain, just think as one. Eli dropped to his knees, overwhelmed. He could feel them peeling back his identity, searching through his mind like pages in a book. You are not strong enough, the hive said. Let go. Lyra tried to pull him back, but Eli didn't move. His fingers twitched. Then his lips moved. No, the voices paused. What? I'm not letting you win, Eli said, standing. You think humans are weak because we feel fear, because we think dirty thoughts, because we make mistakes. We know you are weak. No, he shouted. You're wrong. We're strong because of those things. Our thoughts aren't perfect. They're real, messy, human, and you'll never understand that. He reached into his mind and summoned hope, not a memory. Not an idea. But pure, raw, human hope. The light it created didn't burn, it healed. And the hive screamed, the shapes cracked. The void shattered. The fake Eli melted like wax. Eli awoke. In the real world, gasping. Lyra pulled her hands away, shaking. You pushed them back, she said. You pushed them all back. Not just me, he said, sitting up. You were with me, you anchored me, she nodded. But they'll return, and next time they'll bring more. Eli looked into the mirror. His eyes were glowing faint blue like Lyra's, but not alien. Changed. In orbit, the three Voxton shadows became 7. And far away, beyond Saturn, something larger began to stir. A voice, deeper, colder, older, whispered, the bridge has awakened, the war begins. Becoming something more, the evolution of the bridge. The first sign came quietly. A light flickered as Eli Stone walked past a corridor on the Mars base. Not unusual. Power had been unstable lately, but when it happened again, in 5 different sectors, with no wires, no circuits, no cause, someone started to ask questions. Inside Ellie's quarters, his heart beat louder than it should have, not from fear, not even from exhaustion, but from the pressure building in his mind. Every hour since the encounter in the mind space, something new had awakened inside him. He could hear thoughts now. Not just Lyra's, everyone's single quotes s. Small, faint, scattered, but real. A technician outside. I'm tired of this job. A soldier in the barracks. I miss my daughter. A general in the command room. What is he turning into? At first, it terrified him. Then it hurt. And then he got used to it. Your aura is changing, Lyra said the next morning. Aura, your thought pattern. It no longer moves like a human's. It ripples now like water touched by a star. Eli didn't respond. He didn't know how. His skin felt electric. Every time someone came too close, he could sense the rhythm of their thoughts, not just what they said, but why they said it, and worse, he could now push back. He tested it once, only once, on a panicking officer. Calm down, Eli had whispered. The man froze mid-panic, blinked, breathed slow, as if peace had been injected into his mind, but it wasn't peace. It was control. Later that day, Lyra took him to a sealed chamber built of Serari crystal, meant to reflect and contain mental energy. This place is safe, she said. If you lose control in here, no one dies, he repeated, startled. You are becoming more than human, Eli, and that kind of evolution is not gentle. Back on Earth, the United Planetary Council had already met. A hologram of Eli hovered in the room, recorded from security footage. His eyes are glowing, one admiral said. What does that mean? It means, said a scientist from the back, that he's no longer just a man. The silence in the room was sharp. What's your recommendation? The president asked. The scientist didn't hesitate. Terminate the bridge before he becomes the gate. Meanwhile, deep in the Mars base, Eli sat in the center of the chamber. Wires tracked his vitals. Lyra stood nearby, arms crossed, worried. We need to test your limits, she said. What if I break? Then we'll learn how deep the fault line goes. The test began. First, a simulation showing Earth under siege, billions screaming. Ellie's heart spiked. His thoughts fractured. He saw himself falling. He saw Lyra dying. He saw the Voxton rising. His skin burned, but not from heat. From energy. The crystal walls began to glow. Pull back, Eli, Lyra said. I can't. You must, but it was too late. Thoughts, not just his, erupted. Everyone in the base felt it. A shockwave of emotion hit them like a storm. Fear, rage, guilt, truth. Some screamed. Others fell unconscious. One officer tried to claw out his own eyes, and at the center of it all, Eli, glowing, floating, not human anymore. Then Lyra touched his mind. Come back. Her thought wasn't loud, but it was true. And truth anchored him. The light faded. The walls dimmed. Eli collapsed. When he woke, Lyra sat beside him, tears on her face. I saw everything, she said. Your pain, your guilt, your love for a brother you couldn't save. I didn't show you that. You didn't need to. She took his hand. I don't know what you're becoming, but I know who you were, and I trust that more than anything. Later that night, a coded message arrived on the Mars base. Direct from Earth. Priority Alpha, encrypted, clearance only. 2. Base command subject, bridge threat neutralization order. Initiate termination protocol. Stone status, immediate. The same time, above Jupiter, a fleet of Voxton creatures emerged from a wormhole. Not ships, not beings, but colonies of thought, weaving toward Earth's edge. They no longer whispered. They sang a song of consumption. A song of rival. Inside Ellie's quarters, his eyes opened again. But he wasn't asleep. He had seen the order. He had felt it. The intent behind it. They're going to kill me, he whispered. And for the first time in days, he wasn't afraid. He was angry. The final thought, when silence screams. Mars was quiet. To quiet. Not the peaceful kind. The kind of silence that comes before a scream. Above the red planet, a hole had opened. Not a wormhole, not a gate. A scar in reality stretched like a wound in spacetime. From it, the Voxton swarm descended, not in ships, but in waves of pure thought. Billions of whispering voices flowed through space, invisible, Unstoppable and hungry. Back on Mars, Eli Stone stood in the center of the main command deck, alone, unarmed, untrusted, his face pale, his eyes glowing. His heartbeat slow, almost inhuman. Around him, security teams waited. Hands on triggers. He already knew why. He had seen the kill order before it was sent. Not the words, the thoughts behind them. He's becoming one of them. He's a risk. Terminate before he connects to the swarm. They didn't understand. He already had. And he was still himself. Barely. You're making a mistake, Eli said quietly. The commander didn't blink. You've become unstable. No. I've become the one thing they can't control. The room flickered, screens glitched. A technician screamed and fell to his knees, blood running from his ears. They're here. Eli whispered, in your heads already. Shut him down, the commander shouted. Soldiers raised weapons, but before they could fire, everything froze. Literally, the room, the air, the people, suspended mid-motion. Like time had swallowed itself, only to move. Eli. And Lyra. She appeared beside him, eyes sharp. Mind locked into his. I felt it, she said. They touched my thoughts, turned my past against me, even the part of me that loved my sister. They did that to me too. We're running out of time. He looked at her. Emotion buried behind glowing eyes. I can end it, she hesitated. How? By giving them what they came for. Deep inside Ellie's evolving mind, he had discovered something new, something not even the Voxton understood. A final human paradox. Hope and despair. Love and grief. Sacrifice and survival. And now, one more, a thought so pure. It cannot be copied. You can't face them alone, Lyra said. I'm not. Eli replied. He held out his hand. She took it. In that moment, their minds merged, deeper than ever before. Not a connection. A bond. Outside, in the skies above Mars, the Voxton reached full swarm form. Billions of minds, woven into a hive net of thought, surrounded the planet. And for the first time, they spoke aloud. A voice made from everything humanity ever feared. You are ours, your thoughts, your past, your pain, merge or be unmade. But inside the Martian base, something changed. Eli rose into the air, glowing like a second sun. The metal bent around him. The floor cracked. And then he let go, not of control, not of power, but of identity. He opened his mind wide, exposed every fear, every doubt, every broken memory, and then offered one final thought. I am still me. The Voxton crashed into his mind, but what they found was not weakness. It was truth. They searched for lies to feed on, but all they saw was his brother's death, his guilt, his failure, his love, his survival. And one echoing truth. I made peace with who I am. You can't rewrite that, the swarm screamed, not in sound, but in concept. They twisted, broke apart. They couldn't feed, they couldn't merge. Because what Eli gave them was wholeness, and they could only feed on fracture. The void shook. Above Mars, the sky turned black-blue, then white. The Voxton hive mind, fractured by a single thought they couldn't consume, collapsed inward, screaming into nothing. The scar in the stars sealed shut. Silence returned. Real silence, peaceful this time. When Eli awoke, he was human again, or, at least, what was left of it. His eyes no longer glowed, his thoughts were quiet. But a faint trace of Lyra's voice echoed in his mind. You did it, we did. Days later, Earth rescinded the kill order. Humanity knew now, the real threat was never alien. It was fear of the unknown. And Eli had shown them what it meant to walk through fear and come back whole. As for Lyra, she returned to her people, but before she left, she whispered to Eli, you were never the bridge, Eli Stone, you were the lock. And you chose to stay closed, and somewhere, far beyond the edge of mapped space, a broken piece of the Voxton hive drifted. Alone. Confused. Quiet. For now,